an analogy I like to use for this one is the cell phone. Well, let's be specific, the iPhone. I cannot, Siri, what's your purpose? I have to go to who created it, Steve Jobs. I have to go to Apple. I have to look at what do they call those things? Like documentation on how to use it. Or again, abnormal use and abuse is inevitable. We know that this is for talking. We know that this is for, associating with each other. But if I don't go to the maker of the thing to ask what its purpose is, this is not going to tell me what its purpose is. And even the instructions are going to help me be able to use it the way it was created to be used. And then 7, purpose is the key to fulfillment. It's the key to fulfillment. Because again, if I don't know its purpose, if the purpose has not been revealed to me by the maker, then I will never be able to fully use this the way it was intended. I'm sure that there are things I still don't know about how to use this phone, because I have not spoken to Steve Jobs. I don't know that they come with manuals. You know what I mean? It's just kind of like, let's go, which I tell them all the time. You're abusing it if you're not using it to the max. So I love those principles. I think those principles are like so key when it comes to how we live, how we, the standards of what we accept from people, what we, the boundaries that we put out, if we don't know our purpose, again, then we'll allow that abuse because we think it's normal maybe, or because nobody has told us any different. So now I want to read y'all something. I told y'all that I don't ever know what we're going to talk about, but God always gives it to me before we get here. So, I read something that said a national secular poll asked people what they would ask God if they could ask him just one question. The number one response was, why am I here? We want and need to know our purpose. In Matthew 22, Jesus gives us the answer. He says, love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your mind. This is the first and greatest commandment. And the second is like it. Love your neighbor as yourself. That's Matthew 22, 37 through 39, if you guys want to write that down. Matthew 22, 37 through 39. With that being said, the answer to our questions of purpose is love. So that is one of the questions. Life's universal purpose is love. Yes, the answer to our question of purpose is love. That's life's universal purpose. When we ask God why we are here, his answer to us is relationship. You're here for a relationship with him and with each other. Relationships are why we exist, but the devil is the enemy of relationships. A strong relationship, marriage, parenting, family, friendship, etc., are a threat to him. He is always trying to divide us, trying to get us to substitute things for our children, for our marriage, for our friends, for our family, for God, and for the things that matter. He wants us to chase after things that won't last. That's what happened with Adam and Eve. The sin separated them from God, separated them from each other, and convinced them that something would make them more happy than someone. Separation and substitution, those are his methods, and they never change. Don't let those methods take hold in your relationships. Work at it. Pursue God's plan for your lives together. That plan is to love him and love people, especially your family. We are created for God and for relationships. That's our purpose. I thought that was excellent. Because I don't know that we can do anything without people. You know what I mean? You didn't get here without people. And you can't go anywhere without the help of someone else. It's like, isolation is such a lie. You can't do it by yourself. You remember we were talking about this other day, American Dream. It's all like,
the independent.
well, I did this by myself, and you know, I gotta make a name for myself, and you know, it's just, it's a.
I had to give a side out real quick, like.
She was really trying hard to get
She was trying so hard.
something out of her car.
It's a lie. No. And so, yeah, I just wanted to stop on that note because that was powerful for me, or to me. The second section,
Sounds good.
yeah, it was. Your ability is your gift. And in brackets, your ability is what you do. Your identity is your calling. And that's who you are. But your purpose is your anointing. And that's why you are.
That's a lot.
You want me to say it again?
No, I got it.
You just digest it. Say lie.
Yeah.
Say lie, right?
You need to journal all day tomorrow.
Oh, wait till we get to these assignments.
Okay.
Okay. So the last fill in the blanks are the nature of a thing is determined by the purpose of the thing. In other words, the way you are is the result of the why you are. And again, and I'm going to open it up for comments before we go to the near side of the assignment. But this is just, let me just speak for myself. You know, I know how I am. And I know that I'm not everybody's cup of tea, right? I know it, you know. But I have had to come to a point where I'm okay with that, you know. Because you're taught that you have to be everybody's cup of tea, you know. But I've just learned and I've seen that, like what this is saying, that my ability, what I do is for a certain group of people. My identity is for a certain group of people. I can't do it all. Was not created to do it all, but we are all a part of the body, and each joint supplies. And so again, instead of worrying so hard about what I'm not, or you know how I'm not, God was just like, be you. You know what I mean? Like fully you. No qualms, no punches. Just be you, because I made you. It's like in the Bible, whatever I made was good. So stop trying to be anything else. Stop trying to, you know, reformat, you know, what I've created.
Nice, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
yes.
you are a doc. You're not a PDF. Whatever, you know? And so, just speaking for myself.
Yeah, Lord. That's a great example.
It's not the same.
Spend all day trying to
But
make
it
that
has a
happen.
purpose, right?
Right.
One is for one thing and one is for the other thing. And they work together for the common purpose of whatever, of everything that needs to be done.
Yeah.
So I want to open it up for comments, questions, insight, agreements, disagreements before we get into this vision assignment. Because this is going to be fun. The nearsighted vision assignment. How y'all feel about that?
I think my favorite part is definitely the comments that you're making about relationships.
Okay.
Yeah, so true. You can't go through life without relationships.
It's true.
God, you know, we always want to say, well, I'm just going to do this and I'll do that. But even God was a team.
It's a team, right?
Even God was a team.
He made us a three-part being, right? There's, what do they say? Even, I wish Kafria or somebody like that was here, because she's like a science buff, and she like will tell you how like research is studying even the single cell is made of 3 parts or something like that. Now you know that they have like super duper microscopes and magnifying things, and it's just like nothing is single. Nothing. So why are we living our life trying to be by ourselves? Just, I told Jade one day, this is so funny, y'all. So I had been kind of getting on her nerves. I'm like, well, how do you feel? Well, how do you feel about that? Well, how do you feel? You know, I'm getting her in this talking, communicating about her feelings. Well, sometimes I just want to be left alone. I was like, love doesn't leave alone. God fought to reestablish a relationship with us. It's like, love doesn't leave you alone. I'm sorry, little girl, it's not happening. You know, and then, like, how
Like, can love come back tomorrow?
How much better would the world be, though, if we fought for the relationships instead of being so okay with them falling away?
Yeah, love moves towards people. It does, not away.
Fights. It fights.
Yeah.
And God has put that in us. Like, that's why people commit suicide and stuff like that, because they've gotten so alone and nobody's there to pick them up or speak to them. And that was good, Kelly.
Yeah, it made me think too, like earlier this week I was talking to where we work, there's an organization called Prestige, and it's for like women caught in like you know, the sex industry, and I'm going to be interviewing one of the young ladies probably like next week, and it's just interesting when you were talking about the abuse and the abnormal use. It was just so beautiful how she finally like caught that, and she caught like what her purpose was, and she said, you know, it's not that I'm not confident, you know, and she says a lot of the young ladies that I work with, she said they're probably more confident than you, and I kind of was saying, that's probably true, because they'll get on a stage and they'll do things, and I'd be like, that's okay, you know, but she says, but they didn't know their purpose. And she says, now I know my purpose, and I know that the purpose for me as a queen is not to do that, to not use my confidence, to not abuse my confidence that way, or use my confidence abnormally in that way.
Good.
So it was really a beautiful, just to see the light, like she was so like clear on it. I was like, yeah.
She was sick.
You know? She got it, and it was really beautiful to see somebody get purpose like that. You know, it was really cool. So when you said that, I was like, yes, just this week, you know, I had an encounter with somebody who, like, really figured that out.
And you think about it, once somebody taps into that purpose, like, you can't convince them otherwise from that point on.
No, because now she has a new vision for her life based on that information. You know?
So true.
So true. It's like, now I'm doing this. Now I'm choosing different jobs. So she's like, instead of now thinking, well, I'll just be a cocktail waitress or something that I think I have skills for, that I have an ability for, or whatever, right? Like, all of that changes now underneath purpose. Now she's like, oh, I could do this corporate thing. You know what I mean? Like, she sees herself differently, and that's really cool.
So good.
I like what you said about the, you know, the why of who you are, and the who of who you are, and the what of who you are.
Yeah.
Because, you know, like I was telling you at lunch that day, it's like, whatever our purpose is, we carry with us in everything we do. It's not about having a specific skill for a specific job or thing, but you serve whatever that is. It's like being a waitress and you have your tray, and on your tray is your purpose. And whatever you've been given is what's on your tray. You don't have the thing that she has on her tray, you know. You have this, and you're called to serve the group of people who need and want this thing, and you're assigned to your section on your mountain, you know. You get your section, you go and serve that.
I'm so glad you're sharing
And whatever it is, you serve it in your family, you serve it with your kids.
No matter where you go.
Yeah, no matter where you go, whatever you do, whatever your job is, you still serve that thing in some form or fashion. And the interesting thing was, the other day, Yvette and I were having a discussion about something that happened in the workplace and how we would have handled it, you know. And she said, well, you know, I would approach it this way. You know, I would say A, and then I would address B. And I was like, well, I would approach it. I would address B first, and then I would address A. And she's like, well, no, if you do it that way. I'm like, well, no, if you do it that way, we're having this discussion, right? And then it dawned on us that we were serving who we are with Yvette. She wants to reason together and bring you to a point of another way of thinking about things and seeing things, you know. And that's what she was doing. You know, that's why she was really focused on, I would do A and then I would do B. But I'm not like that. You know?
Not her, right?
No, I'm just a little different. And I want us to understand where we are and things. You know, I'm very black and white. I don't have a whole lot of gray. And while I care, first of all, I'm going to say this is a deal. You need to understand this is a deal. Now let's talk about why this is going on, because I want to understand. I really do. But first off,
but after we're clear,
and when we finish, this is still the deal. You know. And it was just interesting to see that actually at work.
At work,
we were actually both, you know, adamant about our position and why we would do it like that.
Yeah. But then Cindy was like, neither one is wrong.
Right.
And I was like, right, neither one is wrong. It's just a different way of doing it. We probably would have still gotten, you know,
same result.
Or perhaps we would have gotten a different result. I don't know. But I don't think either one was wrong.
Right.
It's just different.
Right.
You know?
And
different perspectives.
Right. Yeah.
But it's so necessary. You know what I mean? Like, both of your perspectives were necessary.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And what I love about what you're saying is I was reading a book, and it was talking about how the goal of communication is not to agree, it's to understand.
Right.
You know, and I think this is why that's important, because you can get so distracted and so off task because you're trying to agree, because you're trying to get her to say what you're saying, and you're trying to get her to say what you're saying, and it's like, can we stop focusing on whether or not we agree, and just for the sake of what communication is really about, I understand what you're saying.
Yes.
Because at some point, everybody has to be able to sit at the table and bring whatever they are. For example, like the body. We talk about the physical body, and then we talk about the body of Christ. You just need to understand, like, say you're a hand, right? And she's a foot. You gotta understand your role as a hand and her role as a foot. Y'all will never agree that roles are the same, because you're picking up and you're walking. You know what I mean? So y'all will never agree. But this doesn't mean that you can't understand it. It doesn't mean you can't work together for the common goal.
Yeah, I also thought about it too, and it doesn't mean that sometimes you can't recognize that another person's perspective, another person's way of doing it may actually be better. And you should be open to that, because we didn't necessarily have different perspectives on the matter. We felt the same way about the entire situation.
We did. We did.
I would address it this way.
Right.
And we both had the same outcome.
And
at
appreciated
the end.
the other one. I was like, well, you know, maybe you're right. Maybe it would be better than
But
that.
I think
that's the great, when you want to be a great leader, you have to understand sometimes you don't change who you are, but you may change your tactic at that moment, or allow the other person to serve who they are. Well, why don't you know what, I think you're right, you go address this situation.
And it works hand in hand with the hand and foot example.
Because sometimes you scratch your leg with your foot instead of your hand. I'm not going to bend way down. I'll just use my hand.
I wasn't going with scratching, but it works.
Okay, I'm sure you have a more eloquent example.
That worked. I was going to say, if you're trying to get somewhere, you may say hands, let's crawl. You may say let's walk. Depending on the situation or the space, one may be better.
Yeah.
So like you said, maybe I need to defer to this versus that, or whichever.
That's good. That's a good example, because like if you're on the floor watching TV and you want to reach the remote, you don't necessarily want to stand up, walk over and get it.
But like you say,
crawl over and
or you may want to use your foot to pick it up.
It happens.
Oh my God, I love it. I love it. I love it. I love
like,
it.
you guys are nuts.
She's loving it.
I do want to say one thing. Like, I feel like this is the part I want to journal about, is like your ability, identity, and purpose. And so I was almost like trying to. It's almost like hard for me at the moment, just sitting here to figure out how to answer those questions for myself. Like, I have to do some more work. But the person that came to mind was Scott Thompson. He's like a pastor at our church, and it was so funny. I just easily wrote down, like, his ability is that he can motivate and teach. I was struggling kind of with the calling part for myself, but I feel like his calling is to be like a brother and a friend.
Yeah.
In a way, it's almost kind of like who God just naturally made him, where he's like a really laid back kind of. I like to go hunting, and like he just made him a certain way where he would be feel really accessible to certain people, where some people might not feel comfortable with him, right? But then his purpose, I remember he told us a story that the Lord told him he was called to break the chains off of a generation. That's strong. So like, no matter where he goes, no matter what he does, like he's his best when he's breaking chains off of a generation. So it's like, I was like, I see all of that. Like, in him, I just need to go home and figure out what that means to me. You know, but
it's good to have an example.
Exactly, because I was like, okay, I'm gonna like, so how does that work?
Right.
You know, my life. So this is really, really, really strong. Those three right there.
Well, that's good. You even got that example. I don't know that I have that about myself either. But
that's our homework.
Nearsighted vision. What we're gonna do right here, right now is I gotta read something before we do it. We're gonna take a personality test. Okay? And let me read something before I do it. So this book right here is called The 5 Little Questions That Reveal the Life God Designed for You. It's by Dana Gresh, and she has a lot of books that speak to women, young women, identity and purity, modesty, you know, not having sex. She has a book called The Bride. Y'all can pass it around if you need to. She has a book called And the Bride Wore White that's talking about, you know, preparing yourself to be pure before you get married. She has a book called something about what you don't know about sex. She's just like really breaking down sex from a biblical and spiritual standpoint. She has these Secret Keeper Girl series where like daughters and moms go on dates, and it's just all so we just had our first little date today, half of it, right? So we went to a Dr. Bombay's underwater tea party. Yeah, and it's just like, it's really, really good. I'm going to be journaling, blogging, and speaking about it. I only did half of it. I didn't do it right. It was Mommy's fault. She didn't do what she was supposed to do, but hey.
Well, you could do it again. You took them on a second date.
It's going to be,
They'll let you.
Well, we're going to do the second part of date 1 in-house.
Oh.
And it's like 8 dates, so you go on different ones. But anyway, I love her stuff. And the book actually comes with the same title, a journal. It's a meditation journal. So each chapter or whatever that you read, she'll say, you know, this is your homework, and then you have the same, that you journal in. And so the particular chapter that I'm going to read from and that we're going to do this personality test is called, Am I Working in Agreement with My Created Personality? So it says Proverbs 22:6 encourages us to train a child in the way he should go. It is heavy laden with treasure for us, whether we are mothers or not. The first word, train, is hanak, an archer's term like the word for sin, chata. This word was used specifically to describe a soldier training with his bow. The bows these ancient Hebrew marksmen trained with were not the gadgetry, high-tech kind you and I see these days. Known as compound bows, modern bows can be adjusted to allow hunters of different sizes, strengths, and skills to use them easily. This was not so with the ancient longbow. The bows these marksmen used were one simple piece of slightly curving wood. Each bow was uniquely different. Therefore, the hunter would need to adjust himself to the bow. He'd need to learn the bow's unique strengths and characteristics. It gets even better. We're told to train, chanak, a child in the way he should go. The Hebrew word for the way he should go is derek, which literally means according to the bent. It refers to the unique inner design or direction of the child. The phrase, the way he should go, doesn't speak of some prescribed path that every man, woman, and child should take. It's not talking about rules to live by. Rather, it is referring to a specific path that's just for this child, his or her unique design. This verse isn't just for moms and dads. It's for you and me to apply to our own life. It's a hidden treasure in Scripture that invites you and I to figure out who you are. God wrote a personality into you before the creation of the world, and when you work according to it, you'll find fulfillment and you'll hit the bullseye. The Marston Inventory, commonly known as the DISC Inventory, is public domain, and with it, I can get you somewhat pegged. It's not a thorough inventory, but if you've never taken the test, this is vital. If you have, it's just for fun. So what we're going to do is, with the questions that are on the paper, we're going to use the numbers 1, 2, 3, and 4. 4 being a statement that best describes you, and 1 being a statement that least describes you. So you're going to answer every question. Okay, so every section of A, B, C, and D is going to have a 1, 2, or 3, 1, 2, 3, or 4 in it, depending on which statement. So you're going to rank each of the 4 statements. Most like you is 4, least like you is 1. Okay?
Oh, okay.
So you see how there are a couple.
So I'm naming 1 to 4 in each little section.
A through D of each section. Right. It is 7:55. I'm thinking about 8:10. Okay. We'll have till 8:10 to do this. Okay. Any questions? Everybody good? Okay.